everybody.
Hi.
I made Kel laugh right before camera went live. I do that a lot. I like to make Kel laugh.
Yep.
Kel,
I'm coming easy, Mark. Yes.
you came up with the theme for today. What is it?
I did. It is cozy traditions.
And I'm Becca, and this is Kel. We're from 100 Ravens.
Yep.
Kel started things. I'm doing it now.
And I ran away.
Yeah.
Goodbye. Looks too much like work. I'm out.
So we wanted to talk to you about cozy traditions. For us right now, that is getting into some of our thicker yarns.
Smooshy yarn.
Yeah.
Heavy yarn. Warm
Heavy yarns. The weather is just changing. We're still in place, but all of our lovely fingering skinny yarns have gotten lots of love on these little live casts, so we thought we'd talk about something different.
The chunky yarns.
Well, you want to start with the chunkiest yarn?
I will, but I have to say it's kind of funny that we're talking about cozy traditions when both you and I grew up in the tropics.
That's true.
Right, like we grew up nowhere, like, it's so funny, we're in New England now, right, we're like, oh, it's fall, and, like, the cold weather, and, whatever, and it's like, normally we'd be sweating.
Yeah.
How many Christmases have we spent in 104 degree heat?
No, let me tell you about the waiting at the one plane that came into the Air Force Base with the Christmas trees on it and seeing if you were one of the families that got a Christmas tree or not.
Oh, did you get a Christmas tree?
Almost every time.
Your mom says hi.
Oh, hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. We just got the word that Mom said hi, so we're saying hi to Mom. So, now can I talk about yarn?
By all means.
Are you sure?
For the moment.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, until I think of something
you
else to
derail
distract
it again.
with. That's what I'm here for.
So, for the longest time, we did not have a bulky yarn because I was knitting with all of it.
Because she
I'm
had
serious.
it all.
We went through probably 6 different mills, sending us multiple samples, working stuff up to our specifications. None of it was what we wanted. None
It was
of
like
it
the
came
questing
out right.
beast of yarn.
It really was. All that while, I was knitting this blanket.
This beautiful blanket.
This
It's so,
huge blanket.
I just like, I will just say a lot, and you just assume that it feels really good.
That I was doing for my son. And in a bulky yarn that we bought from our regular mill. And I was like, it's just another 100% superwash. We were trying to do something fancy. And after a year and a half knitting with it, I was like, well, maybe everyone else would like it as much as I do.
Just supporting it. It's all for you. No one else can have the nice bulky yarn.
So, and I was the dummy who decided to do seed stitch on an Afghan.
I don't even know what to tell you.
Anyway, my son loves it. He kept growing while I was making it and told me it had to go from toes to neck.
This is why there's this extra section.
Yeah, there's lots of extra. It just kept growing. It hasn't had its ends woven in yet.
But it's funny because, speaking of cozy traditions, like, for a good long time, you were always working on this.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like, oh, that's nice. It smells like the house and it has dog hair in it. And,
Well, it's for him to go away to college with, so it had to. So anyway,
home with him.
we started carrying it for everyone else. It's called Juno. And here are a few seams in it.
Yes, beautiful. So this yarn has a really different ply for us.
It has a nice, ropey ply, but it doesn't feel like rope. It is soft as anything.
It is so soft and so smushy. And like all of our yarn, it's superwash.
Most of our yarn is superwash.
Sorry. Most of our yarn. Oh, and I'm going to unplug everything with my foot.
Careful there.
There we go.
Anyway, and so, it like all the other yarns from this mill, takes dye beautifully. It, unlike some of our larger, chunkier yarns, it takes the dye very smoothly.
Yeah. So you get a nice, even
dye
job.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
It has to do with the fact that it's a little bit looser ply, but it also just is very evenly plied and very wonderful that way.
Well, and you can see, I'll put this on here so you can take a look. The stitch definition you get with it is great. It's really, all the seed stitching ever.
And the other thing, the reason I don't always show it is because I had dyed the yellows to be a gradient, the golds to be a gradient, and then got them out of order after I tell everybody how to do it so you don't get them out of order in the middle of
I
knitting.
keep telling people you shouldn't say that. Just, oh yeah, I planned it that way.
No, I totally did not
Just too
plan
honest.
it that way.
I just be like, yes, it's my art. Don't ask me to explain my art to you.
Anyway, if you see a color that we put up on the little camera and you want to know what it is, just ask.
Yep.
Jess is manning the computer behind the camera, and she is letting us know if you have any questions.
That would be personing.
Personing the okay. Hi.
Jessing. She's Jessing.
Hi, I'm Becca from 100 Ravens. So anyway, so that's our bulky yarn,
I'm back.
Juno, which we love. So now let's talk about its.
Juno, it's great yarn. Cheers, mate.
We only have half an hour. Why did I let you on camera? So then we'll talk about our big fluffy worsted.
Worsted.
This is kind of like the little sister to Juno. So if Juno has that great bumpy ply, Ntoa, which is the worsted version, also has a lovely little bump to its ply. And I used to think it was super bumpy, and then I got the Juno.
And then you got the Juno, and you're like, oh, you don't know from bumpy.
Yeah. Here, put something different.
I'm sure there's
colors.
probably actually like a technical term for that bumpy
It's
ply, and
just
I
a-
can't think of it.
it's just-
I can't think of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's just a looser ply. It allows each of the strands to be independent, because if you pull it tighter, it tightens the ply down, just like on Patos versus Iacos. And more versus fewer strands in the ply.
Right. Yeah.
Who started this business?
What? What just happened?
Someone asked what's in y'all's cups.
Literally, water and ginger ale, I swear to God.
Uh-huh.
We were like this all the time.
Yeah, this is
Welcome to our house.
the Kate and Becca show, as everyone fondly has referred to it in the 25, 30 years we've been together.
Exactly.
Something like that. So, I love this yarn. It does some really lovely things.
We'll show you more here.
Kel's going to show you more colors in it. This is this fantastic shawl that is just like, it's the thing I want to wrap up in on a cold day. Except I'm showing it backwards again, because I do that every time. Anyway, this is by Raven Knits, Mindy Dykeman. She's a fantastic designer up in
The North
Canada.
Yeah,
in the
she's
North
from the
Egg.
North Egg. It's even really colder
and
up
it's
there.
got this lovely lace. It's made with 3 skeins of Ntoa, 2 for the lace portion, 1 for the top. Look how I did that. 2, 1.
That was magical. That was amazing. Did you practice that?
Yeah, and it's called Pisces Stitchientis, and I love it.
Wow,
I
easy
think
for
it's
you to say.
beautiful.
Wait, can I say that again?
Pisces Stitchientis.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of Mindy's patterns are about nature and flowers, and a lot of her patterns are the scientific names of various flora.
Yeah.
So, and her patterns are really neat.
And I'm not allowed to talk about it too much, but I just created a whole color collection for Mindy, and she's doing a whole book in our yarn.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know, I'm kind of excited about it. All right, so, and this is the other color in there, but that's okay. So next, let's talk about, do I have another? Oh, I do. I have another worsted. Yay. This worsted's a little thinner. And you want to talk stitch definition. This thing's got some stitch definition. This is one of our 2 8-ply cables. It's called Epona. It is the worsted weight version. And when I talk about stitch definition, I really mean like
Amazing stitch definition.
And because it's an 8-ply cable, this is going to wear forever. Like, you know, those of you of a certain age remember the old polyester.
What are you trying to say?
Wears like breathes like cotton, wears like iron.
Yes. Yes. Actually true of wool.
Actually true of wool.
Originally.
So this is the Threadle sweater. It's a beautiful, just just a beautiful.
Do you know who the
This
designer
is
is?
Rachel Molnar.
Rachel Molnar.
Um,
Remily Knits.
Remily Knits.
And this is so pretty.
Yeah, and I absolutely adore this sweater so much. I think the detail on it's gorgeous.
It really is amazing. And, the funny thing is I don't remember what I was going to say.
This sweater in particular I love because it is the absolute classic sweater length.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that falls weirdly on me, and this is like the absolute perfect sweater length. Yeah. So,
and it's got a great, I like the color on this too.
Yeah.
It's like everything about this is kind of like amazingly awesome.
And it's
you can knit it.
It's all in Epona.
It's all in Epona.
So for a worsted weight, I really like Epona. I think it's,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where if you
knit and I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. So
yes,
sorry. You would think with a cabled yarn, because it's so kind of tightly wound down, like we were talking about the looser ply versus the tighter ply. Cabled ply is a very tight ply.
Yeah.
And I always thought it would make a stiffer fabric. It would, you would notice it.
Yep.
Oh my God, the fabric that you get out of this and Acer, which is the DK version of this yarn, are luxurious.
Yeah.
I mean, so wonderful.
We have a question about the construction of Epona. Somebody says, Cindy says, what is an 8-ply cable?
So 8-ply cabling, just like when you have cable in wire cable and stuff, it's 4 strands of, it's 4 strands of 2 that have been applied together. So you have 4 strands that are actually 2 strands plied together, right? And then you strand those together.
You ply those together.
Ply those together. Sorry. Right. Yes, you ply those together. And so what you end up with is 8 strands in the construction, but only 4 of them are showing in the exterior ply, and then there's an interior ply, and it just adds to the strength of the strand.
We have a rule in search and rescue and firefighting about rope. Like the more the fiber touches itself, the stronger it is.
Yeah.
And so this is a case where it's plied so many times and twisted so many times that everything's touching everything, and it makes it really, really, really strong. And also that will absolutely diminish any pilling or haloing or anything like that, because all of the fibers are well trapped in the ply over and over.
Yeah.
And especially when you have a ply like that, remember that a average merino staple length is probably about that big. So by the time you've twisted it into 8 cables, that entire fiber is well captured. It's well good and deep in there. So
right. So you're not getting that haloing and stuff. All right, let's go from that discussion to the most haloing.
Yes, the most haloing ever, in the best way possible.
Yes. So we're moving on to the DKs, and we have a DK that is a single ply that has been with us forever. It was like one of the first or second yarns. Not first. It was one of the second or third yarns that we brought in. I just love holding them all like this.
You can hold them. You can hold them
affectionately. And every now and then I think, who really is knitting with this? And then it goes through this renaissance, and people just glom onto it.
Yep.
And you again, after all that talk about cabling, you would think that a single ply is not that strong. Now, it certainly is not as strong as the Epona or Acer, but it is surprisingly strong. We also have a single ply fingering that I once used to tie down the yarn on our racks before we took a cross-country trip, and I thought, I'm an idiot, this is going to go badly. No, when I came to the end and I was like, I'll just break these off.
You can break it.
I nearly went through my finger with it. I'm like, this stuff is stronger than I thought.
Yeah.
It's a good tight ply for that, but not so tight that you don't have a lot of fluff here. You should put something down there.
A lot of smush. I will put some beautiful stuff
hang on,
down
I have
here.
to hold this one. I every time I show Danu, I have to show this skein, because for years our son, the one I made the blanket for, was like, if you have something called Danu, you have to have a colorway called Bookum.
Forgot about that.
So I made a Hawaiian shirt colorway called Bookum Danu.
That is so wrong, and
It
yet
is only available in
so
Danu.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Is that weird when I put that one on top, or does that work?
No, but if you move it back a little bit, they can see more color because the.
How's that?
No, a little too far. I meant just pull the skein back a little bit. The labels
here?
like like that. That's perfect.
Perfect. Okay.
Speaking
Well, and people might like you might ask like, you know,
yeah. I'm okay.
you might ask like,
Yeah.
well, why a single ply then? And some of it too is a texture thing, right? You want that kind of it does something we call fulling, right? Where as you work with it, there's spaces between strands in whatever you're working on, and a single ply will full. It will expand to basically fill the distance.
Yeah.
And so that's part of the reason why single ply stuff is so warm, is because all of those gaps are kind of filled with fiber, but they're loosely filled,
So it's
filled
like,
with the full. Yes.
So it's like a insulation that way.
Exactly, right. Like I tell my students, the way it works is you warm up the air that's in the garment. It's not the
Right.
garment that's warm, it's the air in the garment, and that's what keeps
So
it warm.
we have a couple of things that have been made in Danu. This is a little hat
Halfway
called Kabobbles.
Kabobbles.
It's the Kabobbles hat. And this is actually my hat. I've been wearing this hat for how many?
Lots and lots of years.
Lots of years. So I always bring it out to show how, even though it's a single ply, it does have a little bit of pilling. It's for
Yeah.
the amount of use and amount of washing it's
I was going to
had.
say it's been washed a number of times
Yeah.
too. It's held together really well.
It really holds up. And one of the things we've been really serious about is the yarn bases that we choose for 100 Ravens. One of our little taglines is that we only dye yarn we ourselves would want to knit with,
Yeah,
or crochet. Well, I was going to say it was originally knit with because neither of us crocheted.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and that's held true. If a yarn doesn't make us happy, it's out.
You're out,
you're
as Heidi Klum says. You're out.
You've been oafed.
Oafed.
Because she says auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen. Yes. Yes.
So this is a cute little shawl. It's actually got little beads on it. This is another Mindy Dykeman Raven Knits. And it's called Tsuga, Tsuga.
We had that around for a while.
Yeah, I like to show this one because the one thing that where I was saying Juno really takes the dye evenly, Danu does not.
And that's fine.
Which is
Totally
great.
fine.
Yeah. No, you get here. Hand me the green. Nope, the Legolas. So I'm gonna have Kel put this up there, but you'll see there's a lot of variation. Not variegation. I mean, it is, but I think of that as choppy. This is variation throughout the whole strand, and it's where different places in the strand have picked up a little more of the dye than other places. It's an effect I try and get when I'm doing over dyeing.
Yep.
And you can see that in this, what the effect of that is on an actual knitted garment.
And it lends a lot of depth and interest to your work. You know, sometimes you really want something. Actually, I'm gonna take this out. Sometimes you want something that's really even, and that's totally fine. But this is what a lot of people I think come to hand dyed for are these, variations that make it unique and interesting and visually appealing. So,
and there are a lot of single plies out there that are very popular.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I just have never pushed Danu as hard as maybe it should be, because it is a fantastic yarn.
It's a super yarn. It really is.
Let's do this one next so you can show off your thing.
Yes.
So next we're going to talk about Kodiak. Which is a yak silk and merino yarn that Kel is knitting this fantastic sweater out of.
So this is the furthest I've ever gotten on a sweater. I have a very short attention span. Not only that, but I have a tendency to create things either without a pattern, or I decide, oh, who needs this pattern? I'll just do it my own way, which, as you can imagine, doesn't always go well. But sometimes it does go well. This is a standard top-down sweater. This is about my fourth time through the sweater.
Something like that.
You can tell it's, anyway. But it's made out of Kodiak, and it's incredibly soft, so soft. And I knitted straight down, top down, standard, increases as I went. And now I'm doing a knitted on border with some Viking knotwork out of, what's her name? and I can't remember. She's the Viking Patterns book. Anyway, yeah.
So tell me what it's like to work with this.
It's yarn. Amazing. Oh my gosh. It's so nice. Well, and especially because you can see I have frogged it repeatedly.
Yeah.
And I've done it's interesting because I've used, and there's a high silk content in this, right? It's like 50.
No, it's 20% silk.
20% silk. So it's very drapey.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it for, something where I needed some structure to my sweater, but this is what I want, this kind of loose tunic-y kind of sweater. But it does hold up really well to this sort of structured, knotwork of the cabling. And I've really enjoyed using it. It's been great. It's held up to multiple froggings. I love the color. This is the natural color.
That's the natural color of the yarn.
Which I adore.
The brown comes from the yak in there. It's 15% yak. And that knotwork would show up so much better if you had some color on there.
Whatever.
All right.
Here, I'm gonna move this so you can see the colors of the Kodiak underneath.
I want to take a break from yarn for a second and talk project bags.
Yes, please.
Okay. Because
seasonal project bags.
Yes!
I love project bags.
We love project bags. We have some beautiful ones up on the website, and in particular, we did a whole bunch of Halloween ones this year, and so I'm really.
And listen, you don't have to just only get them at Halloween. We have these throughout the year. We have more at Halloween, obviously, but we have spoopy
we do
stuff all the time, especially with ravens, because
ravens,
obviously, right?
So
ravens. And then, of course, as usual, you have to
the bags are, as we say, better on the inside because we always choose a lovely coordinating fabric on the inside.
Is that good? Can you see?
Sometimes they're more interesting. The more interesting stuff is on the inside, and sometimes it's on the.
That's entirely subjective.
It is a little subjective.
Sorry.
So I'm going to show one that isn't on the website. So this is a first come first serve. If somebody loves it, you better email me, Becca at 100 Ravens.
So it's got this lovely kind of stuff on the inside. Ornaments. So good.
The little bats.
So good. We're little bats around here,
we
actually.
We are little bats
We're
around
more
here.
than little bats.
We have potions and witchy things. Then we have, these are my new favorite right now. We just got these in.
Yes!
These are steampunk Halloween.
Mine. These are the best.
Oh, we're doing a steampunk, what is it? Holiday, Advent sets for the first time this year. So we're doing 24s and 12s, and then we wanted to do something in between a 24 and a 12, and so happens that 16 falls in there, and Hanukkah's 8 days, and so we could package 2 together and do 8 packages for Hanukkah, and so that's what we're doing, and it's kind of cool. I'm all into it.
And this is like the
but it's
Halloween...
all steampunk themed, so all the goodies that are in there are going to be steampunk, and all the colors. There's a mood board. If you go on the website, you'll see the mood board for it. So the mood board is all those rich.
And you all just did a Halloween one, right? So you can see although the stuff for the Advent one, for the holiday ones are surprise. You can see all the good stuff for
you can't see it on our website. It's down. But you could go to the Instagram, and people have done unboxings on Instagram.
Ooh, unboxings.
The ever popular Nightmare Before Christmas.
Easy for you to say.
Which
as one does. Look at this great. I love this. I love that it's simple,
so
and then it's offset with the you got the Rona.
I'm sorry.
It's off. It's offset with this great purple ribbon, and then this great pattern on the inside. Such good stuff.
All right, you've done those. This one I'm not so sure about. This one is terrifying and glows in the dark.
I mean, shouldn't your project bag? Listen, how often is it that you find yourself in the dark and you can't find your project bag? All the time, right?
No.
When you're drunk
you don't want to find that in the middle of the night. And then it's just
bag.
It is for you real horror fans out there.
I see you.
Yeah, Kel.
Oh,
Kel
you see, it's
you.
it's really creepy, right? It's really creepy. And can you imagine that glowing in the dark at night?
It's fantastic.
So good. So good.
So, yeah, we have spell books and jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins.
5 minutes left.
Oh, geez.
5 minutes. We got our 5 minute
All right.
warning, everybody.
5 minutes. How did that
minutes.
happen? All right, so really quickly, I'm just going to go through a couple of things then.
How cute this is.
Um,
Look! Oh my God! Look!
we have a DK weight that is a standard 4-ply and 4-ply construction. It is much like the Intoa, very very squishy, a little bit more prone to haloing, but fantastic and soft and wonderful. And then we have,
this.
I know you do.
What?
And then
I haven't even seen half of these. I haven't even seen. I'm sorry.
I'm talking.
Since when does that stop me?
I know. And then we have Acer, which is the DK version of Epona. We talked about Epona enough. I think you guys all get it.
Right.
But
Also,
we
8-ply
also
cable.
do mini
Acer.
sets. Oh, don't even, because I'm taking out the mini sets. We also do mini sets in the Acer.
An Acer. Ooh, this is so much fun working with the big mini set. It's great. Like, it works up really fast.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's amazing.
2 skeins of yarn per set, and it does things like this. Hello, you.
So beautiful.
I know you love this one.
I love that
This
one.
is Nile necklace.
it's
By
here.
10 hours or less. Just there. You're good.
George.
Yeah, and it was done with a mini
amazing.
set and a couple skeins of.
What's crazy about this is it looks woven.
It looks woven. It looks mosaic. It is none of those things.
I know. Sorry, I snatched it away
Yeah,
from
go
you.
for it. You're good.
This is beautiful.
Acer is also
It's
one of the
incredible.
things we have a ton of mitts and
Oh, it's so great for mitts.
hats.
That is like the
and
holiday
fantastic
present.
Things.
Speaking of cozy traditions,
Yes.
mitts. I mean, even people who don't live in cold climates, like we know tons of people who work in cold offices.
Yeah.
And these, like a pair of mitts, just a short pair of mitts, are so great and they work up really quick. It's a super gift. I mean, a super gift. And you don't even have to follow a pattern. You just freaking knit it. You can just knit a tube and it can go over people's hands.
Or you can make it with beads.
Oh,
A
or
tube
beads
with-
extra shiny here.
Yeah.
See, like I just make
You have
mine.
to put your thumb
I'll put
through.
my thumb in. All right, you can put your thumb in like this. Very exciting. Here, we'll do
Not
the-
quite far enough forward.
Forward,
There,
forward, forward.
there we go. Okay. Here, I'll put that like that so you can see it.
Anyway, so lots and lots of wonderful things
Beautiful
you can
stuff.
do.
Good stuff. All right.
Almost didn't make
Woo.
it.
Done. Safe.
Thank you. We
Do it.
landed the plane.
Anybody
No,
have
I've
any,
just been spamming links.
Oh,
Of
excellent.
Patterns and stuff.
any
So-
questions or anything other than what you
No.
had? All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming. Have
Wish
a great
we could
rest
have
of your
been
show.
down there to see you all.
I know. Sad.
Yeah.
Soon. Hopefully
Show
soon.
color. Did you show the show
Oh,
color?
the show
Show
colorway.
colorway. Woo, we almost forgot.
Swipe it up. Show colorway. Tell me if I'm in frame.
You got it.
Good.
Okay,
That's
so
beautiful.
called Old North, and it's another one of these new overdyes that I've been doing. It starts out with a couple of colors on there, and then I overdye it. I turn it all kinds of ways. We lost the pump in the septic this weekend, so I haven't been able to dye them all. So
That's
if you
great.
order it, it's going to be.
It's a lot of hand dishwashing, just so you know.
We'll get them for you, but that's my prototype, and it's the only one that exists right now.
It's beautiful.
Let
Let me just tell you.
It is gorgeous.
It might be gone by the time this is all over. Let
And
me show you. Look how pretty that is.
yeah,
Links,
it's got
so
a
it's good. Everyone has access.
yeah, and so it's lots of fun, different colors in there. I dye it one way, and then I turn the skein and I dye it another way, so it ends up with like 8 different colors on there.
So good.
So yeah, I love it, and I'm excited to get it into all your hands as soon as I can. Really, they're coming tomorrow.
Yep.
So yeah, that's about it.
Stay safe, everybody.
Thank
Stay well.
you.
We love you.